You're listening to the Outdoors Group podcast. This podcast is a call to arms to get children and young people outside again. It's your one-stop shop for all things outdoor, child, young person and education related. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're delighted to be joined by Nathan Jones, Staff Sergeant in the Royal Army Physical Training Corps. Using his experience and expertise as an adventurous training instructor, Nathan is connecting outdoor adventurers with qualified guides and instructors through the Discover a Guide website. He's come to talk to us today about the mission of Discover a Guide and the work that he's been doing. Thanks for joining us today, Nathan.
Thank you very much, Shannon.
So let's start by talking about what brought you to where you are today. What's your background when it comes to kind of outdoor adventuring?
Yeah, so I kind of really joined the Army 14 years ago now, coming up to 14 years. And the Army kind of exposed me to the outdoor industry, as it lends quite a physical and outdoorsy job itself. And we have something called adventurous training in the Army. And yeah, we get exposed to that. So that's a week away, doing all kinds of activities, skiing, rock climbing, mountaineering. And I loved it.
Nice.
So I decided to take the plunge really and do it as a full-time job in the military. So to become an adventurous training instructor in the military. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you joined up, you weren't intending to do that at first?
No, yeah. So I actually joined 2010 and I was a radio operator in the Royal Signals. I'd done that for 9 years and done my PTI course, so physical training instructor's course. From there, gained a bit of experience as a PTI and kind of put all my eggs in one basket and joined the Royal Army Physical Training Corps.
Okay.
In that, you have 3 jobs. An adventurous training instructor is one of them. So, I mean, it took me 4 years to do, but you kind of reap the rewards now, and every day is a great day.
So what's the role? So I've not heard of the physical training corps. What's their role within the military?
Yeah, so we're quite a small corps itself. I think we're about 450 to 460 of us in the Army. And the role of the corps itself is to facilitate physical development for units. So there'll be one physical training corps instructor per unit. And we'll be in charge of the gymnasium, gymnasium staff, periodizing the unit's training, just to ensure that units go out either on operations or exercise or whatever that unit is tasked to do, just physically fit and ready.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what within that, what do the adventurous training instructors do? Are you doing the specific training to make sure people are fit and ready?
So my job within it, so we've got quite a niche, so adventurous training instructor. I don't even know how many there are of us, but there's not many.
Not many.
No, there's not many of us. And we take service personnel from all 3 services, so RAF, Navy, and the Army, and they'll book on to one of our courses, and we will take them into a challenging outdoor environment and just give them a bit of a controlled exposure to risk, using the vehicle of adventurous training, so an outdoors activity. And then we can learn about the developmental sides of that while also learning the hard skills, learning actually how to rock climb. But then we can recap and retouch on the leadership aspects and the wellness, the mindset aspects of it as well.
Awesome. And do you take them just places in the UK, or do you go overseas as well?
We go overseas as well, so we're really, really lucky. Last week I was in Norway.
Nice.
I think Switzerland, Spain, Canada, they're all on the agenda. So yeah, we're really lucky to do this job. Yeah.
Where's your favourite place to train people?
Well, great question. I think it's got to be. I really love Switzerland. I really do love Switzerland. I'm quite into mountaineering, so Switzerland's an absolutely brilliant place for that, and it's beautiful as well. The views you get, but I don't think I'd complain wherever they sent me. To be fair,
no, it's just well, it sounds like a dream job.
Yeah.
So from working with your colleagues within the forces to moving towards civilians, what's led you to founding Discover a Guide?
Yeah, so it was during my training really. I've kind of been sat on the idea for around 4 years. And we've got top top class military instructors, and we work with really, really highly qualified and professional civilian outdoor professionals too.
Mm.
And just when I was going through my training, I just noticed that the outdoors industry was quite disjointed, in terms of, each activity has their own kind of corner within the industry. And not necessarily that it was a competition between each activity, but there wasn't one designed platform to make it easy to find an instructor. A lot of the industry works on word of mouth and reputation,
Yeah.
which is amazing. But for someone completely out of the organization and the industry, it's quite hard to really easily find an instructor. And we've got some of the best instructors in the world that operate in the UK, just purely because of our conditions that we have here. It's amazing. So that really
for a small
led me
island,
to,
we've got quite a lot of different terrains and conditions, haven't we?
exactly, yeah, and really consequential as well. So the professionals are really professional, and they know their stuff.
Yeah.
So kind of led me to create and discover a guide, which is an all-in-one platform to find an outdoor professional in multiple different activities.
Yeah. And I guess you were saying about it being hard for people to, if they don't have that kind of word of mouth contact. Presumably that works on the side of someone trying to become an instructor as well, that if they don't, if they're not friends with people in that industry, then it might be hard for them to kind of get their way in as a professional as well.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Especially like it's mainly focused on reputation and word of mouth, as I mentioned. And someone who's just dipping their toes into the industry, it takes time to build that reputation, and get a name for yourself, just like any other industry, really. But yeah, if I mean, you can use Discover a Guide at any level of qualification, as long as you can prove that you, one, have got the certificate and you've passed the course through whatever awarding body you've gone through. You can start your journey to become an outdoor instructor on the site as well.
And for people looking for instructors, presumably that's not just people that are trying to do some mammoth challenge. That could be someone that wants to get into mountaineering but isn't quite sure where to start. Like, presumably it's not just aimed at like the kind of, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, like some people go in big with their big challenges, but that's not what it's about.
No, I mean, it has got a place for those specific people, but no, I mean, we've Mountain Training deliver qualifications such as the Hill and Moorland leader or the Lowland leader. So if you want to go on a coastal walk, anywhere in the UK, there's going to be someone out there in your area that is a leader and can safely provide that experience for yourself. And not just mountaineering based, you stand-up paddleboard instructors is quite a big one, mountain biking instructors.
Paddleboarding is a really interesting one, isn't it? Because obviously it's become really, really popular over the last few years. And, personally, I know a lot of people with paddleboards, but I'm not sure any of them have ever, I see so many on the coast near me with no life jackets and no stuff out at sea. And you think, well, actually, it's not the most sensible thing. It's like, and I can't quite work it out because the kayakers, I never see kayakers that aren't wearing life jackets. So I can't work out what the disconnect is, where people see it more as an extension of an inflatable or something. I'm not sure, but
it's a really tricky one, isn't it? And it's as a professional, looking at that, it kind of puts you in a bit of a strange little scenario in your head, and that's exactly what Discover a Guide is there for. Exposing the risks and the rewards of some activities, and as long as somebody is getting taught, correctly, they're going to leave a week with a professional or a day with a professional so much more educated about the activity that they want to go in and do, because the sea, although during summer you might go down to, I don't know, the southwest of the UK and see these beautiful beaches, but really it depends what the moon is doing at the time, and it depends what tides we've got. It's really quite consequential.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in the southwest, and we had some freak winds last summer, which were, I can't remember whether it was westerlies or easterlies, but what we don't usually get in our bay. And two
Yeah.
guys in their 20s drowned, and they, it wasn't that they'd been consuming alcohol or anything like that. It was just
Yeah.
that the wind was doing something that it never usually does in our neck of the woods, and they got into trouble. And I think it was a wake up call for a lot of people, because a lot of people said, oh, they must have been on a bender from the night before, or, X, Y, Z. And then the details emerged, and it wasn't. It was just really big waves, and they got into trouble.
Yeah.
And that was the middle of the summer, like June.
Yeah. And it is that lack of understanding of the UK environment, what outdoor professionals operate in, and just being a little bit more educated in the decisions that you make. In the mountaineering world, we say, turning around is one of the hardest things to do. Because people, if you go up to Scotland, North Wales, or the lakes, for a weekend away, and you want to go up a certain mountain, you've traveled and you've spent all that money, and we call it summit fever.
Yeah.
So the last thing you want to do is turn around because you're not reaching your goal.
You're not doing your goal, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can put yourself into a bit of a sticky situation at that time.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about how important it is to know when to stop.
Yeah.
So in your bio, you talked a little bit about the transformative effect of getting outdoors and being active, and that's part of your drive for setting up Discover a Guide. Can you tell me a bit more about your kind of first-hand experiences of seeing that kind of transformation of people spending time outside? And are there any kind of examples that linger particularly in your memory?
Yeah, so I mean, you can pick any single day of a job of an outdoor professional, and you can link it back to some kind of mindset or leadership kind of category. And I mean, I'll give you an example of this week. So this week I've been taking a mountain bike foundation course, and just we there's two kind of mindsets that we kind of concentrate on, and that's a fixed mindset who for example, wouldn't want to put themselves out of their comfort zone and expose themselves to failure. And you've got a growth mindset, which is the complete opposite. And I took 4 people this week, and every single one of them was showing me every day, subconsciously, a growth mindset, because they're willing to learn new things. And if they didn't do it, that's completely fine, because they're in an environment and a situation where failing is okay. And knowing that is really, really good. Generally, we do focus on the leadership aspects, coming from like a military background.
Yeah.
And it's super healthy to understand when other people are in more of a directive leadership style or a transformative leadership style, and knowing when you are in that and when to be in that is really important, especially doing our job. There is times where you need to be more direct, safety things or on operations. However, it's not needed all of the time. So knowing when to change your leadership style is really important, and we explore all of that. And I know a lot of outdoor professionals do that as well. Through Plassey Bryn, Glenmore Lodge, and Tollymore, going on to the leadership aspects of the adventurous training or the outdoors world. Knowing how to lead people and lead people safely is really, really important.
Can you tell me, I've never heard of this, the phrase of like a transformative leadership style, like the direct, what the other one you just said, that kind of makes sense. Like if you're directing someone, you're saying, we're doing this now or whatever. Yeah. I'm assuming that's what that kind of means, but.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's transformative and, transformative and transactional leadership styles. Transactional is generally more directive. So, I mean, a lot of people will think of the British Army to be like that. And I think
kind
it's
of
just down
orders.
to TV. Yeah, it's definitely not like that. There's time and a place for it, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not like that all the time. And then you've got the transformative stuff. So, that could be just giving somebody a task and just letting them get on with it. No need to micromanage these people. And if they fail, then it's completely fine. If they fail, there's areas to work on, and that's how a lot of people learn. And then you can go into like adult leadership, adult learning styles. Every single person learns in a different way. They might be more of a reflector, or they might be more of a protagonist. and it's really important for a outdoor professional to realize that, so they can unlock the best of that one person, you know. So there's actually a lot that goes into outdoor instructing. It's not just, you know, going for a walk and reading a map.
Yeah, I was just thinking actually, like, so if you've got a group of 6 people or 8 people and they've all got a different learning style,
Yeah.
how do you kind of accommodate that while still achieving your kind of learning goals that you're trying to get across?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you've got to work quite fast, and you know, it takes some experience to kind of nail it down. But we tend to break our lessons down, or if we're shown a new skill, we tend to break it down into we call it VARC, so a visual demonstration, and then we'll explain it using, you know, talking about it using audio techniques. We issue out books if someone learns better by reading. And, you know, a lot of people that do join the military or are into the outdoors are more hands-on kind of people. They're more activists.
Yeah.
So we just get people to do it, you know, and if they don't achieve what they want to achieve, it's completely fine, because as an instructor, you're putting people in to the right environments
Yeah.
for them, you know, to learn correctly. We call it safe, enjoyable learning.
Safe, enjoyable learning. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so it sounds like there's an emphasis on the kind of leadership when you're outside and teaching.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
What about like kind of, obviously the physical benefits are really obvious, and we've talked about the leadership benefits, but what about kind of benefits to people's mental health and like the soft skills? So obviously we've mentioned leadership, but kind of communication and teamwork. What is it about being outdoors that you think can encourage the growth of these skills more than indoor activities?
Yeah. So I think, I mean, the stats show that the outdoor world is just growing every single year, and it kind of boomed after the COVID-19 pandemic, where I think a lot of people realized just how important the outdoors was for just your mind, really, you know, and your soul. So we've seen a huge increase of people outdoors, which is absolutely amazing. Not, you know, not only just to have a little bit of solitude, but it's completely different environment. You know, a lot of the corporate world will book on with an outdoor professional, and they'll go, I don't know, caving or rock climbing or kayaking together, because it's something completely different to, you know, an office in a tower block. And you get to see people. I think people open up a lot more in the outdoors, and you know, they act different, so you really get to know people. It's just a brilliant environment to be in and to work in as well.
Yeah, it's really equalizing, isn't it? I think being outdoors, because you know, if it's going to rain, it's going to rain on everyone. No one gets any special treatment once you're outside.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
So do
Definitely.
you do stuff with companies as well then, doing like corporate away days and things?
So I don't personally know.
No, but you've got
But
colleagues that do.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of people that a lot of outdoor professionals will have their own website where they can book in, they can provide kits, you know, companies that can do that. And freelancers will kind of bolt on to that as well. So it's a massive thing in the corporate world, you know, because of team cohesion and just really unlocking people's potentials.
Yeah. I mean, we did an away day for a team from the NHS last year, which was it was like whittling for mindfulness, like woodwork in the woods, and the feedback was great, but the feedback was so honest, it made me laugh, because some people said, I hate away days, they're a waste of our time, but this one was different, like, and whether it was because they were doing like a craft or whether they're outdoors by the fire, I don't know, but whatever it was, they seemed to have a really good time. So
absolutely. I just think it's really it's just good for people to learn new skills and be in an environment where they're not used to. I think that's really healthy.
Yeah, really healthy. So for Discover a Guide, how does it work, both for on the side of the guides and instructors and the sides of those looking for an adventurer to help them? Like, how does that actually work in practice?
Yeah, essentially it's a search engine for outdoor professionals. So an outdoor professional will create a profile on there. Imagine it to be like a social media platform, and they'll sell themselves on there. They have to submit proof of qualifications, and people on there will, will have professional indemnity, first aid courses, and all that kind of stuff. So they're fully certified and verified to be on the site itself, and we store all of that information on the site too.
And they pay a small fee to be on the site?
It's completely free. It's completely free. Yeah. Because, outdoor professionals pay enough with kit, with different insurances, different memberships.
Yeah.
It's quite an expensive thing to do.
To do my training, having looked at the kit list and all the different, I've got to sign up to the BMC and, mountain training. It's like, oh, there's quite a lot here to sign up to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, the more activities you do, the more expensive it becomes. So I've made it free. And and like I mentioned before, a lot of outdoor professionals will have their own website. So I've allowed them to link that website onto their profile as well. So not only can they book through the Discover a Guide platform, but they can also generate more traffic onto their own website, and potentially get bookings onto their website too. So it's a brilliant aid for outdoor professionals, and I kind of want this just to be, within 3 clicks you can find a professional in whatever area you want to be in. So if I want to go surfing in Devon, that's 3 clicks. Surfing, I'm in Devon, hit find, and then people will pop up, and then you can just pick a professional and book in through there.
So what kind of activities does it include? I mean, obviously the sky's the limit, but what kinds of things are people mostly signing up that they're doing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so mountain biking is quite a big one actually. It's on the rise in the UK as well. So mountain biking, stand-up paddleboarding, mountaineering. So that's summer mountaineering, so summer walking, and scrambling. Winter mountaineering, so winter walking, winter scrambling, winter climbing, caving, sea kayaking, whitewater kayaking, canoeing, you name it. There's going to be someone out there. Basically everything. Yeah.
And is it quite what's the accessibility like? Because I've been talking to lots of people about accessibility recently, both in terms of like disability or knowledge or budget or things like that. Like, is it? Would you say it's quite accessible for people to find stuff that might suit their needs?
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was created for. Because even I found that it was really hard trying to find an outdoor professional who, one, you knew and you trusted, and two, just in the area that you're working in as well. And you type something into Google and God knows how many websites will pop up, and you just really didn't know which one. So Discover a Guide, we kind of filter all of that, and the guides have ratings and comments on bookings. So it just makes everything a little bit more transparent.
Yeah, absolutely. And they book in through the website, or they can go directly to the people, or they could do either.
Yeah, do either. Yeah. So I just want to promote the outdoor professionals really that are in the UK, because we do have some of the best ones in the world.
Oh, nice. So so you're doing that alongside the army stuff now, doing both?
I am, yeah. So full time in the army, and I'm doing this. So I'm pretty busy. I'm pretty busy.
Yeah, it sounds like you probably are.
It's good though. It's good to be busy.
Yeah. I think we've covered most of our Discover the Guide stuff, but was there other things that you wanted to chat about today that we haven't covered yet?
I suppose kind of linking back into the boom in the outdoor world, really. So I've been reading quite a bit about the mountain rescue teams, and they're seeing a huge increase in their call outs, and they're all volunteer teams around the UK. Specifically, I mean, obviously I work in North Wales, so one of the local ones, the Llanberis Mountain Rescue Team, they're made up of 50 volunteers, and
I follow them on Instagram to see all their call outs and stuff, and they do seem to be having a lot more.
Yeah, they're brutal as well. It could be whatever time of day, and members of this team will go out and just save people's lives. And last year, so 2023, was the first year that a mountain rescue team had over 300 call outs.
Wow, that's mad. That's almost one a day, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's and that's quite scary. That really
Yeah.
opened my eyes. Um, so and that was another reason why I started Discover a Guide, because I just want people to be out in the outdoors and be safe, and decrease the burden on these rescue teams, and the Coast Guard as well,
Mm.
RNLI. You know,
Yeah.
all of these amazing people are doing brilliant things, but way too busy, way too many numbers for me.
From like kind of your knowledge of the mountain rescues, would you say that, I mean, because obviously there are going to be call outs where, you read these ones where they are like incredibly well prepared and they've just,
Yep.
there's been an accident or whatever. But would you say there's quite a lot of call outs which is a result of uh
Ill
yeah,
prepared people.
I was trying to think of a nice way to say it. Yeah, someone that's kind of yeah. I mean, we went up we were in Brecon Beacons about a fortnight ago, and we were trying to do the horseshoe with like Penny Fan and Cribbin and
Yeah.
Fanny Big and stuff.
Mm.
And so we had like, all our kit for the day, but there were some people that had obviously parked in like, I think you call it the tourist car park for Penny
Yeah.
Fan, and were coming up, but they were coming up in like shorts and like
Yep.
trainers and no coats, but it was absolutely tipping it down, and there was a gale coming in, and we actually had to amend our route and come back because it wasn't safe to continue the
Great
way we were meant
decision,
to
that,
go.
Hannah. Great decision.
I know. Well, I was like, oh, sorry guys, we planned this lovely like 15-mile route, and they're like, one of the people that was with us was an ML, and he said, no, this is what they're going to want to see, that you've turned back. But I
Yeah.
was shocked by how many people were coming up in just like stuff that they'd wear to go shopping in town, like absolutely soaked to the skin, and like,
Yeah.
I thought, so I'm guessing a lot of the call outs are because of that.
Yeah. I mean, the first point where you mentioned that you're in the outdoors, so there is going to be an element of just being purely unlucky,
Mm,
slipping, falling. And I think that the highest rate of call outs are like lower limb injuries,
yeah.
because of that. And then the second one is to do with people either being lost or
Mm,
crag fast, so they're a little bit scared of can't go down, can't go up,
mm,
and just the simple ability to read a map and compass could stop
mm.
that kind of stuff from happening, and you can do that by booking in with an instructor.
I was about to say
Uh,
there's a desire for people to be outside, but maybe they haven't got the
mhm.
knowledge that they need to do it safely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I guess really navigation, like you don't need to do like a 6-month course to learn to read a map and compass. Like you could do a couple of sessions with an instructor, couldn't you? And
Yeah, I know some of the people that are using Discover a Guide now. They're running navigation days, so just one day out with
mm,
a professional. I'm pretty sure I've seen it for £45, and you can go
mm,
out and you just learn to be self-sufficient in an outdoor environment,
yeah,
and that's all you really need. Um, it's about making the right decisions at the right time, the
mm,
safest decisions at the right time.
yeah, to come back. And do you think there's also, I was thinking like in terms of these people that I saw, maybe it's just not realizing how different the weather will be, at the car park versus, another 300 meters up or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah, it does get cold and wet up there.
keep pulled away. Someone said to me, "Oh, I'm sure it will clear for a little bit, so you get some lovely views." Like the Clag always clears at some point in the day. It did not clear for the whole 8 hours. There was no
Yeah,
beautiful views. There was just mist.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It's quite common that.
Common, yeah, that seemed to be the way it goes. Yeah. It sounds like an absolutely amazing, amazing resource. Like it sounds too good to be true, really. Like what a brilliant idea. Like such a good, and as you say, like when you Google, you know, navigation courses, if you're stuck with like 15 coming up, you go, "Oh, where do I even start?" But to have it all in one
Yeah,
place, it's such a brilliant idea.
yeah, yeah. I think I just wanted to make the industry a lot more easier for people to
Mm,
to be in it. Really, yeah.
brilliant. So anyone who's got who is an instructor can just get in touch with you to sign themselves up.
Absolutely, yeah. You can do it all through discoveraguide.com and
.com.
register and start building your profile. Yeah,
Great. Awesome. Brilliant. Well, before we say goodbye, I've been asking everyone 3 questions just to end if you're happy to do that.
absolutely.
And this one always makes me laugh because I do talk to a lot of outdoorsy people. So when I ask them how they relax, we often met with a bit of laughter. But I'm still going to ask, how do you relax?
Yeah, there's a laughter look. Um, how do I relax? I really suppose it depends what week I've had, really. I think it all boils down to just remaining active. So going to the gym, a lot of running. But sometimes I just like to be on my own, recharge the batteries, social batteries as well. But I would say, yeah, probably doing some kind of physical activity.
Yeah. One of the people I asked said outdoors and in motion. And I thought, well, that's a nice answer for how do you relax?
Yeah, I can second that. I can definitely second that.
I know. I'll steal that.
Yeah.
And what are you reading or listening to right now? So it could be books or music or podcasts.
Yeah. So actually, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. And the two that I probably listen to the most common is The Diary of a CEO by Steve Violet, and the High Performance Podcast by Jake Humphries. Really interesting to just hear people's thoughts and explore people's mindset in a lot of things. It really does interest me, that.
Yeah, gives you food for thought.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. And finally, why is being outdoors important to you?
I think, being in an environment where you can just smile, and the outdoors isn't for everyone, but I think for me, when I'm outdoors, my personality comes out and I look around no matter what the weather's like, and I can just breathe in some fresh air and smile. It just makes me happy. It's good for the soul.
Good for the soul. That's a good conclusion. Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming to talk to me today, Nathan.
Thank you very much for having me, Hannah.
You're really welcome. A massive thank you to Nathan for joining us to talk about the Discover a Guide website. If you're an outdoor instructor looking to get listed, why not go and check it out? And if you are hoping to undertake an adventure this summer, or you'd like to learn a new skill or a new hobby, why not go and have a look at the Discover a Guide website to see what instructors are offering in your area and how they might be able to give you guidance and support and training so that you can learn a new skill and have some adventures outside. We hope that you enjoyed listening to this episode. If you did, as always, we would love it if you would subscribe to the podcast, rate it, share it with your friends so that more people can find us. We'll be back in a fortnight with our final episode of Season 4, and we really hope that you'll join us to listen to that. Until then, thanks for listening.